Good morning. It is Friday. We've come to the end of another week, and it's time for my chilling spot check. Still getting myself together. Y'all know how I do. But I just wanted to jump on a little early and let y'all know that I appreciate you. Continued thoughts and support that I get from this platform means so much to me. I hope that I am pouring into y'all just as much as you're pouring into me. And I appreciate y'all allowing me to continue to get myself together. I think this is the wig I might stay with. I like it and it's easy. I'm gonna take it to my stylist and hope that, she can, shape it up a little bit more for me, put a little bit more waves in it. But, that's one of the things I'm very honest about, struggling with alopecia. I am seeing some hair growth back in that area, but right now wigs are what I like to do. I admire every woman who shows up bald in the world. That is a level of courage and strength. And I hope everyone, when you see someone, you're not pointing and staring at her. Do you know the level of amount and integrity and girth it takes to show up in the world bald, as much as women and men value hair? So I'm just not ready for that step yet, but I want to thank y'all for always encouraging me to try out different things and allowing me to play with my wigs. So today's topic is about being an afterthought. And let me tell you where that comes from. So I've been getting a lot of inboxes lately about people not feeling appreciated and valued. And I definitely can relate to that. I think sometimes as people who are trying to grow and trying to be whole and healed, oftentimes we come across as this journey is easy. Oh, Tracy will take care of it. Oh, Anita, my aunt, will take care. It just seems as if when you are a good person with a good heart, or you're just really trying to do right by people and walk in a level of integrity, people, or just in relationships, people just take you for granted. You're an afterthought. Nobody thinks about how their decisions or their actions or lies or conversations impact you. And so I really wanted to dive deeper into what it means to be treated like an afterthought. Have you ever felt like you're not listened to, understood, or overlooked? To be treated by an afterthought means you are not a priority or valued as much as by others than someone. That you're not valued as much as others by someone. It implies that your needs, opinions, and presence are only considered when it's convenient or when other options are unavailable. In other words, your feelings and what you need is only considered because there's no other options available. You're the last option. You're the person who's the last resort. Isn't that the worst feeling? Essentially, you're seen as secondary or a less than important person in life. Feeling like an afterthought can lead to feelings of insignificance and negatively impact your relationships and your self-esteem. So when you are investing in people and you're spending time with them and then they make you feel like, oh, well, I'm just going to scoot this a little bit closer. Thank you. Hope I didn't make anybody dizzy. Thank you. That's better. When you are investing in people and then they are treating you like an afterthought, that is the worst feeling in the world. It makes you question yourself. What is it about me that allows people to think that they can just say whatever or not even really consider, not even say whatever, but just not even consider how I feel and about a matter? That they're going to do what they want to do and that, well, like I said, so-and-so will be all right. Or they only come to you as a last resort. Like, I've exhausted all my options. You're not even a priority. You're the last resort. And if when you treat people like that or you view people like that, it causes people to have a negative impact, not only in a relationship, but people think less of themselves. So here's a detailed breakdown of what it looks like when you're being treated like an afterthought. Lack of being a priority. You're not included in plans or decisions unless it's convenient for the other person. Let me repeat that again. You're not included in plans or decisions unless it's convenient for the other person. So they're not taking in consideration the time you've invested, what you've got going on. Now it's, oh, well, I'll consider the plan. I'm not going to include you in my plans, but you know what? I can make time for you. Limited engagement. The person only interacts with you when it suits them and may not initiate conversations or plans. Listen, if you got to call somebody and say what you doing and constantly invite them out, they're not constantly calling you, or not even constantly, but when there's an event or there's something happening, that you're the one that has to reach out, you're the one who has to make the plans, you're the one that says, oh, we want to go to brunch if it's a friend, or I want to initiate a date, I'm dating somebody and they only want to have Netflix and chill. That's all we do. Like, you can't take me out. It's limited. So, and they may not initiate conversation or plans. We all get busy. And I made a post the other day about mature relationships require a lot of grace, meaning that when we get grown, we have kids, grandkids, we have jobs, careers, caretaking, we have all these other responsibilities. So sometimes, no, we're not able to hang out and do things that we used to do. That's part of life as you mature and get older. But if you never call that person never calls you unless they want something, you're an afterthought. Emotional neglect. Your feelings and needs are not acknowledged or addressed, and your concerns may be dismissed or minimized. So when you are telling someone, hey, I feel a certain way, or I'm going to do this again, there we go, that's better. I didn't feel like I want to be engaged with you, I want to be close. When your feelings are not acknowledged and they're just dismissed, like you're telling somebody, look, I feel a certain way, or I feel like this should happen, or I want to be included in this, and they just dismiss it. Like they're not even concerned whatsoever about how that impacts you. That's emotional neglect. When someone only calls on you and checks on you when they want something, that's emotional neglect. When someone doesn't think about how what they say or what they do impacts you, friendship, relationship, business, it's an emotional neglect. Inconsistency. You experience a lack of consistency in the relationship, with the other person's behavior fluctuating based on their needs and convenience. So you can't even really depend on them. You can't, they'll say, you'll have a friend say, oh, we gonna hang out this weekend, and then you don't hear from them. Or, I got you, Tracy, I'm gonna send you, some money, or, not that I need them, just using this for an example, but, or I'm gonna do this, and then just nothing. You don't hear from them, they don't show up. You're like, it's inconsistent. So then you can't, and then what that does is it makes you feel like I can't depend on anybody. It reinforces that negativity, that negative thought, and that negative mindset is I'm by myself. I'm in it by myself. I can't depend on nobody. They're not consistent. And again, understanding that relationships mature as we get old, we need a lot of grace. People can't just drop things like they used to and run to your side. I understand that. I get that. We have other responsibilities, but it's the inconsistent. One day they hot, next minute they cold, one minute they all in your face, and next minute you don't hear from them. It's the inconsistency. Feeling invisible. You feel like your contributions or presence are not noticed or valued, leading to feelings of insignificance. So, and that happens a lot in the workplace, is that you feel like you're doing things, you're contributing, and then all of a sudden you didn't get the promotion, or you asked for a day off, but we can't give you that day off because you've worked every holiday. you've always been the one that signs up for additional overtime, but yet when you have a need, it's not considered, it's neglected. And then you just feel like I'm insignificant. I don't matter at this workplace, this job, this situation. Essentially, being treated like an afterthought can be emotionally draining, leaving you feeling undervalued, neglected, like you're not a priority in that other person's life. So now that we understand the what and the how of being treated like an afterthought, the next question is, why? Why would we settle for limited engagement, emotional neglect, inconsistency, and feeling invisible by those we love or we interact with? Now, most individuals do not consciously seek out bad treatment, but rather we're conditioned by our past experiences, low expectations, and internal beliefs about our worth. So when we have experienced trauma in our lives, or when we already, again, negative messages are part of our everyday, we have to really combat those. When we constantly are reinforcing negative beliefs about ourselves, I'm not worthy, nobody's thinking about me, or you've been told as a child growing up that you're not valued. One of the things is you to be seen, not heard. Be quiet. Nobody's interested in what you got to say. You grow up and you believe nobody has value. My voice doesn't have value. I don't have power. Nobody's going to listen to me. So again, we don't consciously seek to be treated as an afterthought, but a lot of times it's those past experiences and trauma, or just the internal belief that you're not worthy, that leads you to stay in these conditions. So let's understand why people settle for this inconsistency, this being an afterthought in relationships. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 good steps. Number 1, the fear of being alone. Fear of loneliness can keep people in relationships even when you're unhappy. So when we talked about it before, there is this internal need, whether you say it's spiritual, for connectedness. We were not built to be alone. We were built for connectedness. And a lot of times that feeling of connectedness will have us staying in relationships with people just because we can say that, oh, I'm with somebody, or I have this relationship, but you're unhappy. Has anybody ever done that? You stayed in a relationship, whether it's friendship, relationship, workship, where your needs are not getting fulfilled, and you really feel these internalized, they don't really consider me here. Yeah. Number 2, low self-esteem. Feeling unworthy of love or respect can lead to accepting mistreatment. Listen, if you don't have value about yourself, and I'm talking from experience, if you don't think you're worthy, you will settle for less. You will continuously and perpetually find yourselves in relationships with people and situations where you're not valued and worth. So if you don't feel good about yourself, you're going to seek out people who are going to continue to mistreat you. Good morning, Renee. Happy Friday, my beautiful BFF. Just lifelong sister. I'm having tongue twisters today. Lifelong sister. But when you don't feel good about yourself, and that's another thing too. When people say, well, I keep attracting people who want to mistreat me, that's the message. When you're wondering why you keep attracting these kind of people, that's the hardest part. Is really looking and saying, what message am I sending out? How am I communicating my values to the world? That was one of the hardest things ever to realize for me, was realizing that I was getting what I was sending out. I was sending out messages of mistreat me, low self-esteem over here, no value, no worth. And I was attracting people who saw that. Number 3, hope for change. Some people hold on to their partner in relationships or a work situation because they're hoping it will change, which can be fueled by that intermittent reinforcement. So, and I'm familiar with this, is someone is really bad and they'll say, Tracy, I'm gonna change. And they change for that minute. And things are great for that minute. But it's only a matter of time before they go back to those behaviors. And again, you can wish for change, you can hope for change, but ultimately everybody has that capacity within them to change. You can't change anybody. And you can't make someone get in a relationship that they don't want to be in. You can be the best of everything. You can be the best cook, you can give good loving, you can be available, but if somebody doesn't see you that way and you're not what they want, it doesn't matter. So don't hold on to something hoping it'll change. Believe when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Maya Angelou. Number 4, emotional dependence. Manipulation tactics can cause a partner to doubt themselves, their self-worth, and their ability to leave. We talked about that before with emotional intelligence. A manipulator will have you believing you're not going to find anybody better than me. This relationship is going to work for you because you're stupid, you're dumb, you're not cute, you don't make enough money, you're financially dependent on me, you can't leave me, I control the money, or I can't leave this job because they're telling you, well, you're not gonna get compensated like you're getting here anywhere else because your skills are lacking. So those manipulation tactics encourage, or not encourage us, they disencourage us to leave, and we stay because we doubt our ability to leave. Number 5, unresolved trauma or childhood patterns. Childhood experiences influence how individuals handle our relationships later in life. Past neglect can lead to difficulty asking for emotional support later. When we are told, when we're young and we experience trauma, when we are told to be seen, not heard, when we're not able to express ourselves, when there's emotional, mental dysfunction in the household, we believe that this is normal. And so when we see these patterns, we look. Let me just use this for an example. As I'm very honest about it, I was molested from the time I was 8 till I was 12. And one of the difficult things about normalizing relationships is I grew up having a concept of what a healthy relationship looked like. My molester had me believing that this is what relationships look like. So as I got older, I carried that negative, crazy, stupid mindset into those relationships. But that was because that was the trauma that was taught to me. And so when we have unresolved trauma, when we don't address those things, we tend to carry those issues into relationships until we mature. So another reason why we settle for less is because we've got this pattern in our head. Well, my daddy cheated on my mom and they stayed together, so if a man cheats on me, I just stay. When we find ourselves in these situations where we're treated as an afterthought, you have to ask yourself, what pattern am I reinforcing? What thought process am I believing that allows me to think that I deserve this? Where did I learn this? Next, financial dependence. As I mentioned, financial control can make it difficult for one partner to leave. So when you're considered an afterthought, if you are a person and y'all pooled your money together, or you're a stay-at-home wife, or you are a small business and your spouse makes the most money, then the incentive to leave is, well, to stay and take it, is that I can't make it on my own. I'm not going to be able to live the life I've become accustomed to. I'm not even going to be able to pay rent. So a lot of times we will stay in situations where we're not valued, we're not respected because of financial dependence. And lastly, the lack of a support system. Feeling isolated can make individuals feel more likely to stay in a relationship, especially if they've been isolated from friends and family. So one of the things that when we feel like these afterthoughts and these manipulative relationships, the partner, whether it's male or female, will isolate you from other friends and people, and the only voice you hear is theirs. That is a dangerous situation to be in. Again, when you're in relationships, you and your partner should be able to communicate. But if the only voice you're hearing about your worth, your value, is the other person that you're with, that's a problem. That's a problem. And so keeping and maintaining outside friendships, having a someone that you can talk to, a life coach, a therapist, a pastor, someone that you can communicate with is important. And again, don't allow yourself to get isolated. Excuse me. Because again, there's the devil likes, or the evil one, whatever you call it, loves nothing more to get you back in a room by yourself and beat the holy crap out of you because you're isolated, and reinforce all those negative thoughts that you're having in your head. Don't get isolated. Stay in contact with someone. Stay in contact with your friends and family. Reach out. You have a support system. You have a tribe. Reach out. And if you don't have a tribe, build one. And if you need a starter for someone for your tribe, hit me up. Because recognizing those psychological traps is key to breaking free from toxic relationships and being an afterthought. Because prioritizing your well-being and your safety is crucial. So now that we understand why we settle for, now that we understand what it looks like and how we're treated as an afterthought, why we stay, let's talk about the actions we need to take to move out of these relationships, these toxic, unhealthy relationships where you're an afterthought. Number 1, reflect on your relationship. Is this relationship feeding not only my mouth, but is this feeding my spirit, my soul? Am I valued in this relationship? Am I the best version of myself in this relationship? Can I be authentic in this relationship? Can I express my needs? If you can't be yourself in that relationship, then it's not a real relationship. If you have to continue adjust and modify your thoughts, if you have to be mindful of what you even say in a relationship, reflect on it. Is this a relationship that really feeds my spirit, my soul, or am I settling? Am I treated like an afterthought, but I'm afraid to leave because I'm afraid of being alone, or my low self-esteem, I'm hoping it'll change? Talk to a trusted individual or a therapist. This is where a therapist, a pastor, a life coach comes into play. We're going to help you reflect and understand and find that within you. Then a therapist may go back deeper and talk about childhood trauma. A life coach, we may touch on it, but what we do is we talk about where we are and the steps to move forward. So I always like to distinguish that between the two. Don't want you going to a life coach thinking you're getting a therapist, or you're going to a therapist getting a life coach. We're two different people, two different entities, but we work together. Number 3, learn about toxic relationships. We've discussed about emotional intelligence, the signs of a dangerous relationships, how to build safety, or just inbox me, but understand or Google it. Find out what a toxic relationship is. Look at the signs of how you're feeling in that relationship. Am I getting my needs met? Am I able to communicate? Because you know whether this relationship, you know it. You know it in you that this relationship isn't feeding me. It's not giving me the best version of myself. But I'm just afraid to leave. Number 4, set boundaries. Boundaries are not just to teach other people how to treat you, but boundaries are for you to understand what you're willing to accept. If you're not willing to be an afterthought for somebody, if you're not willing to play that game with them, set a boundary. No is a complete sentence. Repeat after me. No is a complete sentence. So if you find yourself in situations where people are not feeding into you and they have all these expectations of you, or they're only showing up when they need something, no. Not having that. We're not doing that today. We're not playing that game. Set a boundary. Again, boundaries are not just to keep people out. Boundaries are also what keeps you rooted and grounded and keeping yourself safe. So set your boundary. Number 5, build your self-esteem. Surround yourself with people who see that value in you. If you don't know anybody, join a group. Get active in the community. Do things that you love. Find people who are going to support you where you are today. And more importantly, even if you can't get out and find somebody, look in the mirror and tell yourself every day, you're worthy. Start giving thanks and gratitude to your higher power. There's something amazing about getting up in the morning and putting your feet on the floor and saying, thank you, Jesus, or thank you, God, or thank you, Buddha, or thank you, doorknob, whoever you give thanks to. There's something about developing a level of praise and worships in the morning that allows you to be able to say, you know what? I'm worthy. I got up this morning. There's a plan for me. There's something greater out there for me. Yeah, things may be difficult. Things may be hard, but I'm worthy. So there's something about building your own self-esteem. Again, surround yourself with people who love you. But if you don't have anybody who love you, start loving on yourself. Start reminding yourself how amazing that you are. Oh, good morning, Patricia Lloyd Smith. And I want everybody to make sure you say happy belated birthday to Miss Patricia. Her birthday was a week before mine, or the same week of mine, but happy belated birthday. So y'all can jump in and wish her happy belated birthday. She's one of my favorites. And then lastly, consider professional help for emotional neglect and trauma. Listen, we are all meant to have someone come alongside us and build on our self-esteem. We're not meant to walk alone. So find you a good therapist, talk to your pastor, find a trusted friend, hire you a health life coach, find someone who's going to navigate that trauma, that neglect with you, who's going to remind you constantly that you are worthy of being whole and healed. Jump in the chat and let me know what you think about being treated like an afterthought? Have you looked back in your life and realized there are situations and relationships, not just romantic relationships, but friend relationships, where I've been treated like an afterthought? Like my thoughts and my feelings, I love you too, Miss Patricia. That my feelings, my thoughts didn't matter. And it's time to break that emotional baggage that's been weighing you down. I want to give my 2 love notes. My first love note goes to my amazing cousin, Carla Peters. Let me just tell you about Carla. We played ball together. We both played ball. She played in Franklin. Carla's an amazing person. She lives out on the West Coast. And even though my show is super early, she always makes an effort to jump in, give me support, and watch the show. So, love note to you, Carla. And my second love note goes to a childhood friend of mine, another Southside girl, Tiffany James. She's had some. I'm asking y'all to add Tiffany to your prayer list. She's been hit with 2 significant loss of friends lately, and it's just difficult. We're at an age that when we lose a friend, we're not only just losing someone we love, but we're losing part of that childhood, that life, that person that we admired, and it's really hurtful. So let's put Tiffany on our prayer list. Tiffany James, I love you. I'm here for you, and let's continue to lift each other up. Let's just put each other on our prayer list. Amen. Amen. And so today's reading comes from my favorite author. Who is it? Morgan Richard Oliver. This is her book, The Strength That Stays, and I actually have 2 that I would like to read today. So the first one is, anyone can blame the world, project their issues upon everyone that they know, and live a life of selfishness. However, it takes strength, maturity, and humility to identify and address your own weaknesses, shortcomings, and toxic traits. That's the work. And the last one is, rid yourself of what doesn't serve you. Address your weaknesses and build upon your strengths. Your inner strength, peace, and quality of life are dependent upon the choices you make and the energy you give. Morgan Richard Oliver, The Strength That Stays. I have all her books. I highly recommend it. If you don't want to buy her books, make sure you follow her on social media. Again, I want to thank, it's 7:33. I want to thank y'all for hanging in here with me. I hope this information has been beneficial. Callie, I see you up there joining me today. That's my work bestie right there. So Callie, shout out to you. Thank you for joining me today. And I want everyone to have a wonderful weekend. And if no one has told you today or anytime this week, know that you are valued and loved, because I value and love you. Period. Hope everybody has a great weekend. I'll see y'all next time.